You know, some mornings you're just trying to enjoy your coffee, taking it quiet, and then boom, Sumione's banging on your door, waving papers like they own your life. That's exactly how my Thursday started, when Karen from the HOA stormed up to my cabin, screaming about how my gate me granddad's gate, built with his own hands in the 60 SWAs, suddenly a community hazard. I'm standing there on my porch, steam rising off Willow Creek in the distance, thinking, lady, this gate's been here longer than your cul-de-sac McMansion, and you're telling me it's gotta go? I'm Jake, by the way, a part-time firefighter who'd rather be fishing than fighting bureaucracy. That morning, Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Willow Creek HOA, hands me this official-looking notice fancy letterhead. 3 signatures, words like architectural violation and community access obstruction thrown around like legal confetti. Apparently, my gate, with its weathered cedar planks and iron hinges older than most of our neighbors, was blocking some new creekside trail initiative. I'm looking at her, in her neon green safety vest like she's directing traffic at a marathon, and I say, Karen, this gate's been keeping hikers off my land since Nixon was president. What's changed? She clutches her clipboard, all business, and goes, Jake, this isn't personnel, it's about ensuring safe, accessible routes to the creek for all residents. I'm thinking, safe? Accessible? There's a public trailhead half a mile down the road, wide enough for a fire truck, but sure, let's pretend my little gate's the problem. I lean against the post my granddad carved his initials into, feeling the grooves under my fingers, and I'm hit with this wave Offman, I don't know, anger, maybe mixed with something heavier like I'm defending more than just a gate. This cabin, this land, it's all I've got left of him. He built this place with sweat and stories, back when Willow Creek was just a scattering of cabins, not some HOA-controlled suburb. So I tell her, show me the rule that says you can rewrite my property rights for a trail nobody asked for. She shoves these glossy brochures at me, some company called Green Path Solutions, promising modern trail systems and accessibility ramps that look about as natural as a strip mall in these woods. The price tags? Let's just say they make a car dealer blush. I'm like, who's cashing in on this? That night, I'm on my porch, rereading the notice, when I catch a flash of light by the gate. Not deer, not raccoons out there with a camera, snapping photos like it's a crime scene. I grab my flashlight, creep down the trail, and see this guy positioning what looks like rescue gear cones, a stretcher, that works right by my gate. I'm thinking, what the hell? By morning, my phone's blowing up with texts from neighbors. Community group chats are lit with these professional-grade photos of my gate, captioned like, cabin gate blocks emergency creek access, or private property threatens public safety. I'm staring at my screen, coffee going cold, realizing someone's trying to paint me as the villain in a movie I didn't sign up for. I call the county fire chief, my buddy Tom, who's been on the job longer than I have. I'm like, Tom, you ever needed my trail for a rescue? He laughs, says, Jake, we've been launching boats from the public ramp for 20 years. Your gate's never been an issue. I'm not surprised, but I'm pissed. Those photos? Taken at midnight, metadata says, with gear staged to look like my gate's a barricade. I post in the group chat, these pics are fake. Fire department uses the ramp, not my trail. Call Tom if you don't believe me. But the damage is done. Neighbors are freaking out, saying stuff like, what if a kid drowns because of your gate? I'm like, drown? The creek's got a public access point. It's like they're all reading from Karen's script. Then Monday rolls around, and this guy shows up, cocky's clipboard, calls himself a certified property consultant from Green Path Solutions. He's got this slick vibe, like a used car salesman with a degree. Mr. Larson, he says, all serious, your gate violates Willow Creek's historic preservation standards. We need to discuss remediation to avoid penalties. I'm thinking, historic preservation? My granddad's gate is historic, built in '62, with permits to prove it. I ask, since when's my cabin part of a historic district? He pulls out this thick report, muttering about recent designations and compliance requirements. I'm not buying it, so I excuse myself, grab my phone, and check his credentials. Guess what? His license expired 2 years ago, and GreenPath has been wiring him fat checks for consulting. I come back, catch him snapping more pics of my gate, and I'm like, buddy, you know what's historic? This gate. You know what's not? Your scam. I start live streaming him, casual-like, asking, so you're saying my granddad's gate violates history, but your company's shiny new trails don't? The guy stammers, start packing up, says he'll consult his supervisors. My phone's buzzing with neighbor comments, laughing emojis. Mostly. I dig deeper, hit up the county records, and find out there's no historic district in Willow Creek. None. This whole thing's a setup. I pull out Granddad's old permits, snap photos, and post them online, proof this gate's legit, predating the HOA by decades. By Wednesday, it's clear this isn't just about me. Karen's been pulling strings across 3 HOA committees: landscaping, creek management, mobility, pushing this community standards nonsense. I show up to a landscaping meeting, and there's Karen, not even a member, steering the conversation like she's running for mayor. She's waving those GreenPath brochures, saying my gate's an aesthetic issue. I set a recorder on the table, calm as can be, and say, folks, these committees don't have power over my land or yours. Check the bylaws. A few members look spooked, like they're just realizing they've been played. One guy, Mike, whispers to me later, Karen told us we had to vote for compliance to protect the community. I didn't know it was all fake. I dig into the bylaws and find a gold mine. Emergency votes held without notice, quorums fudged, and get no board approval for any of it. Karen's been forging signatures, passing off fake minutes to make it look legit. I call the HOA office, and the admin's like, Jake, there's no board meeting on the calendar for this. My neighbor Rick, who's been sniffing around too, confirms it. Those board authorizations Karen's waving? Total fraud. I'm thinking, this lady's not just pushish running a con. By now, I'm done playing defense. I go door to door, sharing what I found with neighbors like Sarah and Dan, who've been here since the 70s. They're shocked, thought joining the HOA meant giving up their rights. Sarah's like, Karen said our deck needed approval or we'd lose it. I show them Granddad's permits, explain grandfather protections, and suddenly they're fired up. We organize a meeting at Dan's place. 15 families crammed in, passing around proof of Karen's forged documents. The vibe's heavy, but electric-like. We're taking back our little corner of the world. Even committee members show up, admitting they voted on stuff they didn't understand, thinking it was for public safety. Then the sheriff's office calls. Deputy Carter's like, Jake, we're investigating Karen for fraud, forged signatures, fake documents, the works. Send us what you've got. I'm thinking, holy crap, this just got real. Tuesday's emergency board meeting is packed. The community center buzzing like a town hall after a scandal. I step up, heart pounding, and lay it all out. Forged signatures, staged photos, fake consultants, unauthorized votes. I show the board Karen's authorizations, signatures that don't match. One board member, Ellen, gasps, that's not my handwriting. Neighbors start sharing their own stories, decks, fences, even trees targeted with fake violation notices. Carter walks in, drops a folder thicker than a phone book, and says, this is now a criminal investigation. Preserve all records. Karen's in the back, silent, arms crossed, looking like she's plotting her next move. When the board president asks if she's got anything to say, she just mutters, I'm getting a lawyer. The board votes unanimously. Karen's out. All her enforcement's voided, and they're hiring lawyers to clean up her mess. A week later, I'm standing by my gate as county inspectors bolt on a heritage plaque. The creek's sparkling in the morning light, and I'm hit with this quiet pride of me granddad's gate. Once a target, is now protected forever, along with every cabin like it. Karen? Charged with forgery and fraud, plus community service teaching HOA rules poetic justice, if you ask me. What started as one gate became a fight for all of us. Neighbors who bought Karen's lies now know their rights, and we're tighter than ever, swapping stories over coffee about the cabins our families built. I upgraded the gate's same 60s cedar vibe, but with signs explaining its history, so hikers know this isn't just a gate, it's a legacy. Willow Creek's annual Heritage Day rolls around, and we're all out there, kids learning about old-school carpentry, adults toasting to property rights. My gate's the star, with display boards telling its story, proof you can fight City Halley or at least the HOA. Standing there at sunset, watching deer sip from the creek, I'm thinking about how close I came to losing this. Karen's power trip, built on lies and fancy brochures, crumbled when we shined a light on it. Makes you wonder, what would you have done? Would you have torn down the gate, or fought like hell for what's yours? Drop a comment. Tell me your take. Did I go too far, or not far enough? Hit that like button if you're with me. Subscribe for more stories like this, and maybe tap that thanks button if you're feeling extra. Stay sharp. Friends, this is Jake, signing off from Willow Creek.